Okay, good morning everyone, and Hazak Baruch. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Wednesday morning as we are traveling full steam ahead. Perashat Behaalotecha, and there is a lot going on in our Perashah. With your permission today, I would like to fast forward today to somewhere towards the end of the Perashah. Okay, very, very famous episode. Chapter 12, here we go. Today's class is sponsored anonymously for the Refuah Shlema of all of Am Yisrael. Be'ezrat Hashem, the inspiration and the learning should be as a source of healing for all of the ill, all of those that need our prayers. If you would like to sponsor, please email us info@ejsny.org. Pasuk tells us, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol niyeh baro. That's not what the pasuk tells us. The pasuk tells us, Vatedaber Miriam ve'Aharon beMoshe. One day, Miriam and Aharon start speaking gossip about Moshe. Wow. Could you imagine? So even Moshe Rabbeinu, people spoke against him. Okay, so if you have people speaking against you, you're in good company. But they spoke. And Rashi right away points out, En dibur bechol makom ela lashon kasha. Always the word dibur means something harsh, as opposed to, how would you say to say in a kind way? Very good. Amar. Okay? By the way, you want to hear something crazy? I just thought about this, but it's connected to a different Dvar Torah, but I just thought about it. I didn't see this anywhere. We know the Kohanim, when they bless the Jewish people, it says, Levarech damo Yisrael be'ahava. The Kohanim say that we're commanded to bless the Jewish people be'ahava. Anyone, please, what does be'ahava mean? Somebody tell me. Very good. With love. With love. Be'ahava, with love. Where did God command the Jewish people, the Kohanim, to bless the Jewish people with love? Where did He command them this? Does it say anywhere in the Torah to bless them with love? It says bless them. But the answer is, I saw from an Italian scholar, and he says, the pasuk says, amor lahem. If anyone here speaks Italian, what's amor? Mi amore, right? My love. So amor lahem means to say it with love. So anyways, it's interesting because the word dibur is always kasher, is always strict, tough. And the word lomar, emor, is soft, with love. Maybe that's what it means. Amor, mi amore, right? Okay, fine. So, ve'en amira, Rashi continues. Bechol makom ela lashon tahanunim. Always, it's polite. So, what does she say exactly? Says the pasuk, al odot ha'isha hakushit asher lakach. And she spoke about the Kushite woman that he took. Now, Rashi right away says Kushit. What does Kushit mean? Has the numerical value, gematria, Rashi says. Gematria is geometry. So in numerical value, yefat mar'eh, beautiful. So they were speaking about this wife of Moshe. Now, it's not your business. It's not your place. Don't get involved what's going on with Moshe and his wife. And Miriam is punished and Aaron is punished. And that's its own class. But what exactly did they say? So Rashi fills us in. If you go back to the episode right before, Moshe Rabbeinu was complaining to God, and Moshe says, "God, I can't. These Jews, they're just complaining. They want meat. They want life insurance. I don't know what they want. They always want stuff. I can't. Did I give birth to them? Am I their mother? And I need help." And Hashem says, "No problem. Moshe, I'm going to give you 70 helpers, 70 elders." Now, if you do the math, my friends, there's 12 tribes. How many helpers from each tribe? Well, 12 times 6 is 72. So if you get 6 from each tribe, you'll be good, except for 2 tribes, you'll be 2 extra. So that's what Moshe does. He brings 6 from each tribe, 72 people, and he does a lottery to see which 2 are going to be left out. And it ends up being 2 guys by the name of Eldad umedad. And that's what the pasuk right beforehand, the chapter before this one, it says that they started getting prophecy. Mitnabeim, they started saying scary things. And Yehoshua overhears what they're prophesying. And they said, Moshe met, Yehoshua machnis. They said things like, Moshe is going to die, Yehoshua is going to take us in. So they really were getting levels of prophecy. They were seeing into the future. Now, and right, these two guys, Eldad Umedad. And Moshe is not offended. He says, don't worry, if I die, who cares? Let everybody take the Jewish people in. I don't care that it should be me. Really showing true humility. But take a look at what happens. When these two guys, Eldad Umedad, become prophets, Miriam hayta betzad Tzipora. Miriam was next to Tzipora when the news came to Moshe about Eldad Umedad. Kevan sheshama'at Tzipora, when Tzipora heard that these two lads are now prophets, Amra, she said, Tzipora said, pay attention. Okay, so I want you to imagine, Tzipora is talking to Miriam, Moshe is somewhere here, and then Yehoshua comes running telling Moshe, these two guys, Eldad Umedad, are saying prophecy. When Tzipora overheard that, Amra, she said, Oy leneshotehen shel elu, hazaton, their wives. I feel bad for the wives of Eldad Umedad. Imhem niskakim lenvuah, because now that Eldad Umedad became prophets, they're going to need to abstain from their wives. You have to get divorced when you're a prophet. Just like my husband divorced me. So Tzipora is talking over here innocently. She don't know. She's new to this. She thinks every prophet divorces his wife. Because that's what her husband did. Moshe left her. Moshe left Tzipora. And she thinks every prophet has to do that. So she says, wow. Nebach, Azit, I feel bad. Now the wives are going to get divorced. Okay. Put it up on the singles list. Two new women now up on the market again. So Miriam says, whoa, time out. What do you mean? Moshe divorced you? Moshe is not having with you, he's not being intimate with you anymore. Misham yada Miriam. So Miriam hears this, and she says, wow, it's weird. So she goes and tells Aaron, let me ask you a question. Because Miriam here, don't forget, Miriam's a prophetess. So maybe she didn't get the memo. Is she supposed to stay away from her husband? If Moshe stayed away from Tzipora, and I don't know, I didn't get the email. So she goes to Aaron. And she said to Aaron, hey, let me ask you, Aaron, are we supposed to stay away from our spouses because we're Nevi'im, because we're prophets? Moshe did, but why? I don't have to, you don't have to. And according to our rabbis, this is all she said. But Hashem is furious with her. Hashem is angry. Vayomeru. And then she continues and says, does God only speak to Moses? We also get prophecy from time to time. We didn't separate from being intimate. Vayishma Hashem. And Hashem is listening. And the Pasuk says, Vayomer Hashem, God says to them, Pitom. What's Pitom? All of a sudden, Moshe, Aaron, Miriam, the three siblings, Tzeu, come out to the tent right away. Cloud comes, they all come standing in front of the tent. Vayomer Shemuna Devrai, God says, hear my words. If you guys speak to me, it will be only through a vision, it'll be like a dream. Lo ken avdi Moshe, not Moses. Moses is not like you. Moses gets prophecy on a different level. Moshe is clear. Bechol beti ne'emanu, he is trusted throughout my entire household. Pe'el pe adaber bo. That means I speak in mouth to mouth. Umar'eh velo bechidot, plainly, not in riddles. Utmunat Hashem yabit, he behold the likeness of Hashem. Umadua lo yeretem ledaber be'avdi b'Moshe. How dare you not be afraid? How were you so brazen to talk against my servant Moshe? Vayiharav Hashem bam. And God got angry at them. And Miriam, we know right away what happened to her as a punishment. She got leprosy. Because of course she speaks over here gossip. Now again, there's many lessons to be learned over here from this episode. And Moshe, of course, prays for her. And she's forgiven, etc., etc., etc. But there is one phrase that's that our rabbis are bothered by. Bechol beti ne'eman hu. What does that mean? Bechol beti ne'eman hu. He is trusted in my entire household. What kind of trust? Usually when you say someone is trustworthy, it means that he's not going to share, secrets. He's not going to spill the beans. What exactly was the spilling of the beans that Moshe could have done over here? Was Moshe going to, what secrets? Right? I don't think that he was, gonna not steal from the Mishkan. I don't think that's what it means. He didn't steal. So what trustworthiness is God so proud of over here of Moshe? So there are many answers to this question. One answer, simple answer, is that Moshe, we know, received high levels of prophecy about many other people. And he didn't disclose this information to other people. Right? Okay, so that's one answer, beautiful answer, simple answer. He could have shared with people, stuff about them, and he kept it secret. There is another idea brought in the Sefer of Behaalotecha Tov. He quotes over here the Netziv. What does it mean, the Netziv asks, that Moshe is trustworthy? What could he have done that he didn't? So he says, Moshe zachal letoar zeh. You know why Moshe deserves this title of trustworthy? Because he knew something very, very important. Moshe knew the Shem HaMeforash, the special name of God, that when you say it, you could create whatever you like. But Moshe, with his emunato, Moshe was trustworthy. He didn't abuse that name. Many of us sometimes like to go to magic. We like to go to hiji-biji. We like to go and do things to make sure we ensure a certain result. Yeah, as an example, person that is playing a basketball game. He wants to make sure that he wins. So he'll bribe the refs. Right? He's going to pay him off. Moshe Rabbeinu was able to make sure he has things play his way. He could have used Hashem's name. I have a big rabbi that I know that has a long beard and a big hood, and he has a lot of red strings, and I can make sure that I do whatever I need to do to get the right type of parnasah. And being ne'eman is being tamim, to be straight with Hashem, not to try to maneuver around God. Tamim tiyeh im Hashem Elokecha. To be wholehearted, whatever Hashem says, whatever Hashem wants, not to try to outsmart Hashem, not to try to outsmart the halacha. A lot of times we do that maybe subconsciously. So he says, Moshe Rabbeinu had bechol koho lifol bahem. He had all the strength and resources that he wanted to influence the angels, to influence the future. Ve'af bazen eman haya velo pa'al. Moshe Rabbeinu did no such thing. He didn't turn the water into the land into water. He didn't turn the water into land. Moshe always deferred to Hashem. He prayed to Hashem. God, what do you? I could turn it, but I don't want to, because he is ne'eman. Following Hashem with truth, following Hashem with honesty, with integrity. Ne'emanu. Beautiful. So that is another idea from the Netziv. Okay? Now, this is again something that sometimes we forget. These two guys that we spoke about, just to spend a minute on this point. Eldad Umedad, who are they? Who is Eldad Umedad? So according to one opinion, Eldad Umedad are actually Moshe's half-brothers. Yeah. Moshe half brothers. How were they half brothers? Remember when 80 years ago, before Moshe was born, actually there was a decree against all the Jewish boys to be thrown into the Nile. So Amram divorced his wife, right? Yocheved. They separated because why should we have kids if they're going to get killed? Well, in the interim, when they separated, Yocheved went ahead and she had other children. She got remarried and she had Eldad Umedad. And then they got divorced, and Tzipporah, now Miriam comes back and says to her parents, you guys are worse than Paro. You see, Paro is only killing the boys. By you guys separating, you're killing boys and girls. And they said, okay. They got back together. And Miriam over here, very gutsy. She's a little girl. Her father is Gadol Ador, Amram. But she has a certain innocence. She has a certain lack of, calculating. Sometimes you think too much, right? A lot of times, especially in sports, they say players, they don't think too much. Yeah, get the ball, you have an open shot, take the shot. Don't start. Sometimes you calculate a little bit. Sometimes in life, we get too smart. And we try to play Hashem. And we're not supposed to do that. Hashem's supposed to play Hashem. He's a very good actor. He could do that role just fine. Our job is to be us. Our job is to be Ne'eman, to follow Hashem. God said this is what Hashem said. Yes, I should try to understand, but at the end of the day, we need a certain Na'aseh v'nishma. We need to know sometimes, I follow blindly. This is what the Torah wants, this is what Hashem demands. Okay, I don't know what's going to be. You're right, they're going to kill my children, but I have to do the mitzvot. My mitzvah is to have kids. What's going to be in the future? I don't know. Maybe they'll kill them, but that's not my problem. That's God's problem. My problem is to do my thing. Right? Do your job. Stay in your lane. Don't play God. Moshe Rabbeinu is very good at that. Moshe Rabbeinu does what he's told. He does what's needed of him. He doesn't... And by the way, the one time that he does one thing on his own, he pays very heavily for. We're going to read in a few weeks from now that Moshe Rabbeinu is commanded to speak to the rock, and he uses his own judgments. He makes his own calculation. How 40 years ago I hit the rock, so I should probably hit it again. And one time, Moshe Rabbeinu substitutes his own judgment, and he pays very, very high price. He loses access and entry into Eretz Yisrael. So this is another idea of what it means. Bechol beti ne'eman. But my friends, I would like to share with you a final idea for today of what does it mean when Hashem praises Moshe that he is trustworthy. And this is from the book Moshav Zekenim. Moshav Zekenim, he explains this whole story in a completely different way. You see, till now we explained what does it mean that they spoke about Tzipporah. It means that they were complaining, why is Moshe staying away from her? Moshe should get remarried to her. They should, if we are, so could he. This is, again, Rashi and others. But the Moshav Zekenim says, no, that's not what happened. Actually, the exact opposite happened. They came and said to Moshe, what are you doing with this girl? You don't belong with her. Who is she? What's her last name? What status does she have? What's her yichus, her pedigree? What's her bank account look like? How much money does she have? And they were saying, Moshe, it's not ra'ui. It's not worthy for you to be with someone like this. And by the way, who's her father? An idol worshiper, Yitro, peasants. Doesn't look good for you. It doesn't look good for the people. You represent the people. A king cannot just forego his honor. A father who wants to let his son sit in his seat, no problem. You want to let your son call you by your first name? Okay, it's you and your son, go ahead. What's up, Joe? Call your father by his first name if your father so, wishes. But a king, Melech, cannot forgive and forego his honor, because his honor is not his, it's the country's honor. And it's the same with Moshe. Moshe is a king. Vahi bishurun melech. And they're saying to their brother Moshe, Aharon and Miriam are, you cannot stay married to this girl. Doesn't look good. You represent the Jewish people. People need to see in you someone that's aristocratic, very high, in the higher ups, and chashub. You belong with a good girl that comes from a big, big, big family. What are you doing with Tzipporah? Again, nothing against her. She's an amazing girl, and we'll find her a shidduch be'ezrat Hashem. But not for you, Moses. It's beneath your dignity. You know what Moshe said back? Says the Moshav Zekirim, Moshe said back, if she took me when I was a nobody, then I'm going to stay with her now. If she stuck with me when I was zero, she married me then, she was good for me then, she's good for me now. And this is what Hashem means when he says, Bechol beti ne'emanu. He remained loyal. Moshe is reliable. We live in an age where every choice that we will ever make is only with our own best interest in mind. What's best for me? What makes most sense for me? The most important value today is self-fulfillment, self-gratification. What makes sense? What are my rights? What am I entitled to? These are the words. But as Jews, we don't use words like rights. It's not a word that's found in the Torah. You know what we have? We have 10 commandments. We have obligations. We have mitzvot. The Ramchal in his opening chapter, Ramchal says, Ma chovato be'olamo. Person needs to know what is their duty, what is their obligation. Yes, we have an obligation. We have responsibilities. We have to be loyal sometimes to certain things. These are our values, not rights. And so yes, it's true. There are times in life that divorce is warranted. Torah speaks about divorce. It's unfortunate, but sometimes it needs to happen. Two people uncompatible. There's things going on. However, we have to also remember that the opposite, it can get too loose. Today, divorce is just so easy. Boy meets girl, or today you have to say, they meets they, and they fall in love, and they fall out of love. And something happens, and that's it. Today everything's disposable. You don't like it, you return it. I remember my grandma, she had the same couch for my whole life. When I went as a baby, I remember it was the same exact couch with the hard plastic on it, right? Used to be you had a shirt. It was your shirt forever. Today, you wear a shirt once, and then you return it. No, I'm kidding. Right? To wear today, you wear, right? We don't understand these concepts. Everything that we buy, everything that comes in the mail. I have in my house 2 piles. I have ingoing and outgoing. I got boxes that were coming in. We got boxes going out. Every day, right? You don't like it, you return it, you exchange it. If it's Costco, even 20 years later, you can return the vacuum with, I don't know what's going on. So today, this is the world. This is the world that we live in. Everything is just exchangeable. There's no concept. Again, with clothing, I'm just making a joke. But there's the idea of loyalty doesn't really exist sometimes. So, right, you look at most people that win the lottery. What's the first thing they do? Take a guess. Take a guess. What's the first thing people do when they win the lottery? They divorce their spouse. It's frightening. Moshe Rabbeinu, God calls him Bechol beti ne'emanu. You're right. Maybe I became chashuv. Maybe I became important. Maybe I became all. But you know what? I'm not going to change. if those were my friends and they were there for me when I was a loser, when I was a nobody, they're going to stay my friends. I'm not all of a sudden better than them. If Tzipora was there for me when no one else was, how could I just forget that? How could I just forget that? Where's the loyalty? Where's the thank you? Where's the appreciation? Where's the gratitude? This is something that we spoke about earlier in the week about Aharon HaKohen. Lehagid shelo shina. Remember we said that Aharon lit the menorah every day, and Rashi tells us he never changed. We saw a few ideas. What does that mean he never changed? So one idea is lo shina. Aharon didn't change the way he did it. Every day he did it with the same enthusiasm, the same excitement, which is its own idea, very, very powerful. But there's even something maybe else. Lo shina, he didn't change. He became Kohen Gadol, but he remained the same humble person. Humility is easy when you're a nobody. The Rambam writes that a person to become a prophet has to be humble and rich and strong. And everyone asks, who cares about rich and strong? Why should that make you a prophet? And the answer is, it means to be rich and strong and still be humble. Anyone could be humble when they're poor. But all of a sudden to make it, and to remember who your real friends are. But all of a sudden, sometimes we make it and all of a sudden we decide it's time to step up in the status pyramid. Now I got to start rubbing shoulders with, the Bezoses. So this is what Hashem says. Bechol beti ne'emanhu. Moshe knows what it means to be loyal. The loyalty program. This is Moshe Rabbeinu. And what's true with people, my friends, and what Moshe has with Tzipora is true with Hashem. Sometimes we turn to Hashem when we need Him. We all know how to come to shul, to pray when business is rough, when we are waiting for the deal to close, or when we want something to be just a little push through, or when we need the commission, or when we need the check, or the lawsuits. We come to shul and we're praying. I saw a guy in shul one time. He's having issues in law, I don't know what stuff. All of a sudden the guy's there. A few months passed, didn't see the guy. What happened? No, thank God, it's all good. Where's the loyalty? You turned to Hashem and God was there for you when you needed Him. Now you don't need Him anymore, you just drop Him. Now everything's healthy, everyone's good. The business is picking up, the health is fine, the shalom's getting better. Now you forget about Hashem? Guy once came to Rav Orlovsky, he said, Rabbi, why does Hashem always do bad things to me? Rabbi Orlovsky said back, it's not true, He does good things, but you take all the credit for that. When things are going bad, we know how to cry, Hashem, Hashem, Hashem. All of a sudden, when things are going good, we forget about Hashem. And Moshe Rabbeinu warns us about this. Vayishman Yeshurun Vayib'at. Yeshurun gets fat, wealthy, well-to-do, successful, and Vayib'at, he starts kicking. We become good, and all of a sudden, everything's working out. We forget about the people that were there for us when we were nothing. And the Rambam says, people think that that wealth doesn't carry with it tests. What are you talking about? Poverty is a test, and wealth is a test. Huge test. Wealth, how many people get wealthy and it's the biggest kelala? How many people win the lotteries and it's the worst thing that ever happened to them? They lose their friends, they lose their marriages, they lose their jobs, they lose their values, they lose themselves. They become addicts. How many people become wealthy and there's fighting now in the family? Will and this and how much was promised and it's not fair. How many people? The pasuk says, Osher shamur leba'alav. Sometimes wealth is God saving that wealth to the owner as a punishment. We have to realize wealth is a test, like poverty. And then Rambam says, often people fail the test of wealth. Guy becomes wealthy and he forfeits his fear of heaven. Moshe teaches us, if Tzipora is there for me when I was a nothing, then I can't just abandon her that I became a king. Now that I made it, I can't just ignore what she has done for me in the past. You're right, today I could do better. Today I could find better, I could get someone stronger, richer, more pretty, more wealthy, better status, more bigger name. It's true. But she was there for me. I can't just ignore that. When I was young and poor, she gave me courage. She gave me faith. She trusted me. She trusted in me. I can't just abandon and let go of all of that now that I'm a king. So of course, my friends, prosperity is a harder test than poverty. You know, a person who makes so much money and everyone's kissing their backs, and everyone's kissing their feet and the ground that they walk on and kissing up to them. And they say, we love you. And our possessions and our houses and our yachts and our drivers and everything say, believe in us. You only need us. So who has time to believe in Hashem anymore? And Hashem himself, by the way, Hashem himself shows us how to be loyal. What does God say? Now that we sinned, now that we messed up, God could do better. Let's be frank. I wonder if today God could do better. Can God find a better nation than us? Maybe. If you look around certain nations, I wonder sometimes, I say, wow, look at them. They're very committed to Hashem. They have real values, etc. Maybe God will do better off with them. And you know what God says? He says, I could be, I don't know. But I'm loyal. Zacharti lach hesed ne'urayich. I will never forget the kindness that you did when we were young. When we were starting off. Lechtecha harai bamidbar. You followed me, the Jewish people, when nobody else would. I gave the Arabs a chance. I gave the Edom a chance. I gave Esav a chance. I gave Moab a chance. No one wanted me. You wanted me. And now, the truth is, maybe I could do better, says God. Maybe I could find a better nation. I don't know that this is the best. Hanging around with you guys, Jews, you're doing things. But God's loyal. Bechol beti ne'eman, who God says, Zacharti lach, you followed me, so now I will not just reject you. Now I will hold on to you, because I, Hashem, am loyal as well. So this is, I think, a very powerful lesson. It's from the Moshav Zekenim, a commentary, Moshav Zekenim. And he says, this is Bechol be'eti ne'emanu. May we always be zochet tahap onto the loyalty program. Loyalty with our spouse. Remember, you weren't always as good as you were today. But your spouse was there for you. She trusted you. He believed in you. He took you when no one else would. They were there for us. Now that maybe we're a little bit better, stronger, smarter, this is not a time to forget about that. We have to always remain committed. To remember that sometimes maybe a person has a boss. Boss took you in. How many people? They came with nothing. Somebody took them in, paying a salary, giving them parnasah, and all of a sudden now we know how to do it. Now we're smart. Now we know how to run a company, and all of a sudden drop it like a hot potato and open up the competition, right? The very competition that's gonna hurt him. So this is again strong musar, but Moshe teaches us loyalty, my friends. Bechol beti ne'emanu, to stay loyal to our boss, to stay loyal to our employees. You know, they helped raise the company to what it is today. I can't just forget that. Now that they want to raise, maybe they deserve it. I was a little bit hurt when I saw, I don't know if you guys follow sports, Tom Brady. He was getting, again, I don't know the details, but he was an amazing quarterback, and the Patriots signed him for cheap. He was there for a long, I don't know, maybe 2 decades. He was there for a lot of years, getting not as much as he could have, but he was loyal and he gave them a lot of championships. And then he said, now I want an increase. And they said no. and the Patriots dropped him. They didn't re-sign with Tom Brady at the age of 40 or I don't know, 41, whatever it was. And he signed with the Buccaneers and he won a championship again. So, I mean, this is what the Torah wants us to remember about being loyal, being faithful, having a certain amount of integrity with people. To remember, they were there for us. People deserve sometimes, a second chance. Maybe you're right. Maybe now, Hashem, I don't need Hashem. But when I did, He was there for me. So I can't just ignore those moments. May we always be zochet to jump on this loyalty program. Loyalty with people, loyalty with Hashem, and loyalty with everyone. And we'll be zochet always to stay successful physically, spiritually, but most of all, to be worthy of the title Bechol Beti Ne'emanhu. In all my house, He is trustworthy. Stop over here. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And we'll see you all, God willing, tomorrow. Bye-bye.